Is July the month where everything finally turns around and we explode onto new highs? Well, what's pretty damn exciting right now is that if history repeats and we continue these 4-year cycles, then that is exactly what's going to happen. And so in this video, we'll be looking at why this month there could be an explosion onto new highs. I'll share the key dates to look out for in July as well. And then we'll finish with a very interesting 10-year chart on how to build wealth over multiple cycles, and also when will Bitcoin finally hit this $1 million mark. Okay, so first up, July could be a very exciting month as the data suggests a major breakout could be coming our way. Okay, so jumping into the charts, and what do we see? Well, it could be a very exciting time in July because something very cool has just happened. And that is for all the people who believe that crypto is still going to follow these 4-year cycles, then this could be a very pivotal moment right now. So the orange one, this was the 2017 big massive bull run here. In green, we had the COVID low here. This was the big 2021 double run here. This has been the very rocky road of massive breakouts and huge long sideways consolidations, big breakouts, huge sideways consolidations. This unfortunately was the Trump tariff mess that happened this year, sending the markets down. We've then had this nice recovery, and what do we see? Another long, boring sideways consolidation. However, the thing to point out is that it's pretty much at this point here where they found the local bottom. So after a major run here, there was a major correction here, but this was the pivotal moment where it went on to this final massive blow off leg here in 2021. After the first peak, and it came down over 50%. It was this point here which gave amazing run, massive correction, and then on to new highs. And then lo and behold, if we take a look, it's pretty much round about right now where the local bottom may have been hit. So if history repeats, and this is measured from days from the halving, then it's pretty much right now where the local bottom would be in, and we'd get the next major move onto new highs. So this is why July, we could be seeing a major breakout, which is very exciting. However, it is worth mentioning that this is just a map. And a lot of times, each cycle can do its own thing. So one example would be both the cycles had a massive run here, but then because of the Trump tariffs, you would expect another massive run here. And what do we see in this market? In this cycle, it did the absolute opposite. So just when you think a major breakout could be coming, is this the time to go all in? Well, if you try and time it, you could get severely burned. So there are times where all 3 cycles move at the exact same time, but then unfortunately there's times where some cycles boom and the other ones bust. And this is why we just have to buy and hold, because you never know which direction it's going to take. So we could be getting a breakout, but just take this with a pinch of salt because each cycle is going to be different. Now, another way to look at this is the power curve, and this one's been put together by APSK32. So very similarly, but I think just slightly different dates. It basically takes the previous cycles, it overlays them onto the same price action. Then we have a top range, we have a bottom range of what they previously did, and then this nice blue line is a mean, or the average. So we're now going into July here, so the average would say that it should be around 100,000, which is pretty close, 105 maybe, pretty damn close to where we should be right now. This one is slightly different. This one suggests that actually in the first week of July is where you could find the bottom. In this cycle, it says maybe into the mid-July is where you find the bottom. So the average being about 1 to 2 weeks in. So maybe the trade wars going into next week, we could find the local bottom. However, again, it then suggests that you get some major moves to the upside, probably breaking out to new highs by the end of the month. And then August being an absolutely excellent month. So there's two slightly different variations. One saying it could be pretty much now. This one saying maybe next week. We still find some scary weakness. However, for July and August, it's looking pretty damn exciting. One other thing to point out, and this is looking at the stock market. So this is the monthly returns of the S&P 500 for the last 10 years. And something very, very cool, a complete anomaly here, is that when it comes to the months, it is July, which is the only one in a 10-year history where every single month has been positive from the S&P 500. So how cool is that? So this just suggests that there's going to be strength in the stock market. This is what it's done for the last 10 years, and there's no other month that's done the same thing. And obviously, if there's strength in the stock market, this also would suggest it's a lot more likely to get strength in the crypto market as well. So that's pretty cool right there. Now, when it comes to key dates to watch for this month, here are the ones that I'll be watching. So as I record this, we're now Saturday the 5th. Happy 4th of July to all the people in the US yesterday. And this was Trump's big, beautiful bill that was signed into law. And I, for one, am a little bit surprised that the crypto market didn't go on a bit of a tear, because there's about $4 trillion that's going to be added to the national debt over the coming years. And obviously, hard assets like Bitcoin are going to do really, really well in debasement of currency. I think it's something crazy like a quarter of the dollars that have ever been created have just been created in this one bill. So that's going to take some time, but there's a hell of a lot of money that's going to be going into the economy because of this. Then next week, it's going to be Wednesday the 9th. This one is the US trade deal deadlines. We should be hearing a lot of announcements early next week about trade deals, and then the rest of the countries will just be sent a letter saying this is your new tariff. So expect some fireworks this week for sure. Could this be the trigger? Up or down? Then CPI the following week, and this is going to be for June, which we'll talk about in a second. The next Fed meeting on rates, where now it's about a 90% chance that Jerome Powell is just going to stick with high rates. And then PCE as well, the other inflation gauge, which is going to be for June as well. So those are your key dates. Now, when it comes to CPI, we just have to be aware that it's going to be for June, and Trueflation is saying that moving from May to June, likely because of tariffs, there has been a noticeable increase in inflation. So this obviously is not good for risk assets. We're going to be getting this data in a couple of weeks. However, for me, this doesn't look good. So one just to bear in mind. APSK32 also dropped a nice 10-year chart using the power law method of what the price action could be looking like for the crypto market over the next 10 years. So this is a very enticing chart, because is this the roadmap where we can simply sell towards the highs, buy in towards the lows, and build massive wealth over the coming years? Well, due to my circumstances, this is something I certainly will be selling out towards the end of this year. I will be buying back in with a smaller percentage 1 year later. So if the chart follows this pattern, then there's probably no reason not to keep on going. And it really is through multiple cycles that wealth has been built. When I first got involved in 2017, it was to the tune, I think my first investment was about £20,000. In that cycle, I went into the hundreds of thousands of pounds. Then it got completely wiped down, but I bought back in. The 2021 cycle sent me into hundreds of thousands of pounds. After the major crash, I did some major buying, and all things going well, this cycle will send me into the $1 million mark. So it's through multiple cycles that wealth is being built. And for me, it's just a much better alternative to the old buy the S&P index fund, keep investing, and from age 20 to age 65, that is how you make your million. That is the traditional way. Where so far in crypto, we've been able to get to that mark in a much shorter time frame. Although going through these booms and busts for anyone who's done it multiple times requires a very thick skin, a lot of stressful moments. However, we now could be moving into the final blow-off stage of this part of the cycle. So over the next 6 months, very exciting times ahead. And finally, this would suggest that Bitcoin will be breaking this magical $1 million mark at about 2034. Is July the month where everything finally turns around and we get an explosion onto new highs? Well, measured by the halving in the last two previous cycles, it was pretty much right now where the local bottom was in, and then the big breakout came onto new highs. Alternatively, the power law chart suggested that it could be the first week or second week where the local bottom was formed and then onto new highs from there. So maybe some downside into next week. The key date for next week is going to be these trade deals deadline on Wednesday, so expect some fireworks around about then. And then finally, the 10-year chart gave us a very enticing look at how to build wealth over multiple cycles, and that Bitcoin will finally break the $1 million mark in 2034. So there are, guys, hope you enjoyed. Now it looks like July is lining up to be a very exciting month, and so are you prepared? Now, if you do have any burning questions, simply use super thanks below. However, just remember to get rid of 100% of the comment spam and trading bots that plague YouTube comments. We are trying out the new SuperThanks commenting system. So to get your question or comment read and replied to, or just to say thanks, then use super thanks below. And for now, just to say, if you did enjoy anything in the video, then drop a like, and a big thank you to everyone who does, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.